Like 2 minutes.
This meeting is being recorded.
I don't know why, but for some reason my video is not showing, and I don't know why. I'm trying to fix it.
It's showing a photo.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the photo. I
Okay.
don't know how to get rid of it. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I see Commissioner Young is starting to join us.
Yes.
So,
So all commissioners are present.
okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We're being recorded. It is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. The time is now 7 p.m. We will start with roll call, starting with Commissioner Young.
Present.
Thank you, Commissioner Armache.
Present.
Thank you, Commissioner Wheatley is present. Commissioner Givens.
Givens is present.
Commissioner Yuri.
Commissioner Yuri is present.
Thank you. We do have all 5 commissioners present and accounted for. We do have a quorum. We will get started with our meeting tonight. For those who do not have the agenda in front of them, and I don't see it on the screen, next we'll approve our minutes and financials for June 2022. I thought we were also going to approve the minutes from March. That's what was sent to us
Yes.
earlier. Okay, well, that's not on the agenda, but we'll make a little notation that we're also going to be approving June and March. So did anyone have any edits for the minutes?
I did not. It is on the new agenda that Carol sent out.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm having problems sharing. One moment. Can you see the agenda on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Did anyone have any edits? I did have edits that I provided to Brittany earlier today. So hopefully she was able to incorporate them.
And she did.
Okay. Thank you.
I did not have any edit of significance, no.
Okay. I don't even see myself. What about the financials? Did anyone have any questions or comments in regards to the financials for June?
None for me.
No.
Okay, if there are no edits for the minutes or the financials, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Can you specify which minutes you're referring to?
There are several. So we have the special meeting for June 23rd. We have the regular town hall meeting for June 8th. There was also a regular town hall meeting for March 9th. And the work session for March 1st. Well, before we approve them, I do have a question on, and it's not an edit, it's just a follow-up question on, was the March 9th minutes. It's in regards to the inventory for the town equipment and the disposal. Do you know the status of that? Has that been completed or has it been done? I know Commissioner Givens had asked for a second opinion.
Yeah, that was something, I do recall that, and that has not been done yet. So we're still
Okay.
working on that.
All righty. How this stuff just keeps popping up. I think I wanted to ask a question about something else too. Hold on. So back on June 8th, Commissioner Givens had asked about the vacant business properties and I guess creating some kind of tax credit or financial incentive to motivate the owners to improve the maintenance on their properties. Do you know what the status is? I believe he had asked you and Mr. Best to work on a legal solution.
Right, and we had talked about a facade improvement program, so I've been working on some language for that, and I can present that at the next meeting, and I'll run it by Mr. Best.
Okay, great.
No,
Thank you.
no, that's not what the subject of the topic was. The
Okay,
topic was, is Mr. Best on?
should be.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
see him on.
the topic was there's a there, like in District of Columbia, there's an unoccupied tax, right? If the property's not occupied for a period of time, then they begin to tax it under a different an additional tax, you know, and that's what that does. Is an encouragement to try to make sure people occupy these properties as opposed to keeping them abandoned for an extended period of time. And I believe Hyattsville, not Hyattsville, but Mount Rainier had the same imposed tax. And that's what I was saying, to get with Mount Rainier and maybe piggyback off of legislation that they already had in place. But if you haven't done it, then perhaps that's just something you can
Okay.
continue to look into. Okay.
Okay, I will do
If
that.
there's any question, you can call me later during the week, and I'm happy to go back to it with you again. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there was something also in the June 8th minutes in regards to the signage around the gazebo. I know you
Yeah.
guys are working on getting
Yeah, I
those
was gonna talk-
signs,
I'm sorry.
but I had asked that something also be put in the July newsletter. But I didn't see it in there this time. Could we
Because we
make sure we
hadn't-
put something?
I'm sorry.
Could we make sure we put something in the newsletter next month?
Well, I was going to talk about that in my update. I did have some language that I ran by Mr. Best, so I wanted to run it by the commission first. So just in case you all had some input.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we still need to approve the minutes in the financials for the dates that I read in addition to June.
I move we approve all the minutes and financials listed, those from March and June.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Givens, I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Givens. All in favor, please say aye.
Givens, I.
Young,
I'm
I.
O'Shea, aye. Sorry, I'm O'Shea, aye.
Yuri, I.
Wheatley, aye. Wheatley, aye. Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Next on our agenda is the Maryland Energy Administration Letter of Support. Mr. Jim Flynn is the project manager for Building Change, Inc.
I don't see him on the screen.
I don't think he was invited. It was
He
just, did you invite him?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to do the letter of support.
I
Discuss.
mean, if you still
discuss
want to
the letter of
proceed
support.
even without him, I think we can.
Do you think he's going to join later?
I don't know. I definitely gave him the link and the time, so and we talked about it.
Okay, well, we can give him some time, see if he joins later. Maybe we can move to the next item. And maybe
Okay,
we'll have to come back to that one until he joins.
okay.
Okay, so next is the Maryland Milestone Heritage Area, Anacostia Trails. And that presentation will be presented by Megan Bacco. Am I saying your name right, Megan?
Hi there, yeah, it's Megan Bacco. Would you mind making sure that I have the ability to share my screen?
You do?
I will check again. Ah, there I am, thank you.
Mhm.
There I am.
And then if you all would just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Megan Bacco. I'm the executive director of Anacostia Trails Heritage Area. We are also known by Maryland Milestones. Both of those names really seek to try successfully or unsuccessfully to really create a regional identity for the history, culture, and arts that we know that our region holds as assets, both for our residents and visitors alike. And so we are a nonprofit organization. We've been around since 2001. You all may have heard previously my predecessor, Aaron Markovich, who was the executive director of Anacostia Trails Heritage Area for about 10 years before he moved on to Connecticut. So I've been in the position for about 1.5 years, and I am very appreciative of your time and allowing me to speak to the council tonight. I will let you know that Cottage City and the northern area of Prince George's County is unique among other communities and regions in Maryland in that we are a Maryland Department of Planning designated heritage area. And what that basically means is that we have the ability and the opportunity to apply for and receive both funding and technical assistance from the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority. So they are based within the Maryland Department of Planning. And when we were certified in 2001, it was really because there was a great grassroots initiative to say, that our communities are connected and share a history, but are unique in our own ways. So if you take a look at the map, you'll see we're in great company of places that are known for their heritage tourism. And it's just always good to remind us that our communities are included in that statewide program. So for heritage tourism, which might seem, we've got other, things on the docket, is, what's important or relevant for the council. Well, it's the concept that people want to go to the places that they're being asked to understand through history, geography, culture, art, or nature. So the way that the state program really thinks about it is, if you're going to go visit somewhere, you might also want to experience the community as it was in the past and as it is today. So there's a continuum of interest in Cottage City and the communities along the Route 1 corridor. So there is a great bit of research, both academic and economic, about the benefits of heritage tourism. And if I could distill it into just a couple of words, would be that we are in an opportunity, or we have the opportunity, to use some of this state funding to create or enhance places that visitors might want to come, and in doing so, also enhance those places for residents. So to me, there's a very two sides of the same coin, is the way I like to think about it. So we're not just making things for visitors, because we know the things that visitors actually want to experience are also things that benefit our residents. So I just wanted to make that clear, that we're not always just catering to the visitor or the tourist, that it really does, hopefully, if we do our job right, actually impact visitors and residents. So obviously Maryland has a very large hospitality and tourism economy, based both from obviously DC, but also economic drivers to the Eastern Shore, to our Western mountains. So really across all of the state, there is, because we're part of that state program, there are great numbers. We can even tap into these numbers about economic impact, right down to our heritage area in particular, which I'm happy to share. Our latest report was from 2020. And just about every 5 years, the whole statewide program does try to prove our return on investment. So, excuse me, these are some great numbers from 2020 that I was happy to share with you. Some things that you might recognize more locally is that we have a visitor center in Hyattsville. It's currently being renovated, and we also support programs associated with all of the trails, whether it's the trolley trail, whether it's the Bladensburg Waterfront Park and the kayak and bike rentals there. And you'll also start to see, if you keep your eye open, I'm sure you all know, either Anacostia Trails Heritage Area or Maryland Milestones, we have interpretive signs and wayfinding signs. It's all to try to direct attention and spending in local businesses and in the places in our community that we care about. Something else that the organization does that is even more unique, I think, than other organizations, is that we do put our funding from the state and our organizational dollars into creating regional marketing opportunities. So this is just something that came out this summer from USA Today, and it allowed us to really show, you'll see our ad here with that crazy little beaver, that here we are in a nationally publicized magazine about exploring the Northeast, and here all of the towns in the heritage area, including Cottage City, are included. So that just gives you a sense of what we do and the value to our town members. Cottage City is a town member. Basically, your dues to us are the equivalent of about 25 cents per resident. I think for Cottage City ends up being just over $1,500. So let me show you what, that kind of investment in our organization does and how we might even be able to have it work for you even more. So we were able to get funding from the county and hopefully from the state, as well as the National Park Service, to investigate and plan how we might be able to create a Dueling Creek Trail. So you all know that Dueling Creek comes through Cottage City, comes through Colmar Manor, and ends up at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park. Well, we are working to create better connectivity between those places. We know that Waterfront Park, because of their rental, because of the parking and the rentals and the gazebo and things like that, are really major drivers of both residential and kind of regional tourists. And so right now we're working to expand that trail into Colmar Manor. I'd love to just introduce this topic to you all and see how we might be able to work in the future about connecting that trail up into Cottage City. So that's something that's happening now that gives you a sense of kind of the work that we do. Another project that we're doing is also funded by the National Park Service and the state, which is that we worked with the Prince George's County Black History Program to create and really research 10 sites related to the civil rights movement in Prince George's County. So this project is going to result in 10 interpretive signs, as well as a compendium website where so anybody can visit. We're also, I know you probably hear about some of these projects, as they happen. We are committed to it. We are going to make sure that we either host tours, we promote the website, and then we also direct grant funds to some of these sites to make sure it's not, just a, a dot on a map, but really try to engage both residents and visitors with the space. Here's an example of one of the signs that we're putting up in, this one's in Laurel. We have sites in Bowie, Upper Marlboro, North Brentwood. So this project, again, just gives you an idea of what we, the grants that Anacostia Trails Heritage Area itself receives to then provide benefit to our town communities. That is also to say that we are also a grant-making organization. Before this meeting, I did a quick little bit of research, and I'd love to work with you to make sure that Cottage City is really tapping into these resources. I think maybe in 2010, you all may have received a grant, I think about trail lighting. Again, our goal is to really make sure that this funding is obtainable and useful to our town members. So, the fine point on that is please consider us a grant-making resource and a technical assistance resource, anything related to trails, historic properties. I know you're all talking about facade improvement. If those Main Street style businesses are historic, I'm happy to work with you to see if there's any existing state or county funding for those. So please know that I'm a resource. So if anything comes up related to history or culture, arts or tourism, that's really my purpose to be here today, is to make sure that you consider us a resource, because as a member town, we want to make sure that you're tapping into what we have to offer. And just to try and clarify that a little bit, the types of projects that we're able to weigh in on and support are related to historic research. They're related to adaptive reuse of properties, and also related to trails, open space, events, anything that's really about the cultural identity, and that could be through the built environment or through arts and culture. And like I said, in the bit of research I did, I know that there's been this idea of, is there a mill in Cottage City? Was there a what can we do with that gas station? I know that some of those have been made into coffee shops. How can we expand that Dueling Creek Trail into Cottage City? So those are just a couple of examples, so that this doesn't seem, oh, well, we don't have a project, we're not sure how we fit in. So please just know I'm, available and open to chatting through how you might be able to tap into heritage tourism dollars, or if we're not quite at the inviting visitors in yet, how do we get our buildings repaired, maintained, and things like that. I have a background in historic preservation and in community planning, so always happy to be a resource. And the last thing that I wanted to mention today is that our organization, because of the record of success that we've had and both the state and national interest in our region, is that we'll be expanding some of these services to a greater portion of Prince George's County. So right now, our service area is really right along the Route 1 corridor. And if you see in this map, we want to be able to provide this funding stream and technical assistance to a larger swath of Prince George's County. So we're working with folks in Upper Marlboro, in Accokeek, in Eagle Harbor, and other places, so that, again, just remember, this is a statewide program that is very unique. There are only 13 of these overlay districts across the state, and Cottage City is one of them. So really the reason that I wanted to, and I appreciate the opportunity, is just to, if things come up in meetings or you have questions, there's anything you think I can assist with, or in the past that we haven't been helpful with, just please let me know. I am always available by email. I'm working on making sure that the office phone number gets to my cell phone from working from home, but I am always available. And if any questions arise about heritage tourism or historic properties or trails, please let me know. I tried to be around the community. If not, please always feel free to use my email address there. So Carol, if that seems like a good introduction to what I've been up to, I will stop the share of my presentation and open to questions, or feel free to share this presentation as needed with the rest of the council. Thank you.
Thank
have
you,
a
Megan.
question. Excuse me,
Just
go
a
ahead.
second, Commissioner. I wanted
ahead,
to
go
thank
ahead.
Megan for joining us tonight. I met Megan at Ocean City when we went to the MML conference. She was one of the vendors, and she had all this stuff on her table, and I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then she said, you're Cottage City, and that's how we started up a conversation. And
I
was
said,
like,
wait, don't
oh,
pass my table. I gotta talk to you.
Yeah, she stopped me. But I'm glad you did, because this is some great information. I'm sure that we'll be able to use it to our advantage for our residents and possibly some tourism. Some of the things that you touched on tonight are things that we have talked about. So I'm glad that you presented to us tonight. I'll be happy to open the floor to commissioners who have any comments or questions. I believe we'll start with Commissioner Young.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. Very interesting and inspiring. I walked away for a minute. I was listening, but I didn't see. When I came back into the room, I saw a map I thought was of Cottage City with a proposed trail. Could we see that again? I missed it to be able to really
Yes.
look at it.
Yes, thank you. I think the map is that you're mentioning is probably related to the Dueling Creek Heritage Trail. And
It might be.
that project at the moment does not include Cottage City. So that project is to connect, if you can visualize with me, just so we don't have to bring the map up, but I can share it and have it all to you all, is if you picture Bladensburg Waterfront Park and then going into past the ball fields, past the cemetery, and then into where Colmar Manor has a MNC PPC property where they had some new exercise equipment installed, and there's a community garden. What I want to do, and why I brought that up, is if it made sense both for the property owners and for the town to see if we could include that trail across Bladensburg Road and further into Cottage City. The concern and why it wasn't included in this first phase of the project is because I know or from what I understand, and you all can correct me, is that the properties that back Dueling Creek in Cottage City are primarily privately owned, which is the distinction.
I think
between
they're owned by
Colmar
Parks
Manor.
and Planning.
Oh, is it owned by Parks and Planning?
I think the big park area is, and then the houses on 37th, which back up to it, are owned by individuals. And then on the other side of the park are some businesses, but the actual park area, I think, is owned by Parks and Planning.
And that's in Colmar Manor or in Cottage City?
Well, I know it's in Cottage City. I don't know what their situation is exactly.
Okay, that's actually very encouraging news. So if Carol, if you don't mind, I will send you that report. And if you all could take a look at it, whether you use PG Atlas or if you use your own GIS, if you could let me know. And we can see if we can create an extension up into there. I know people use it as kind of a de facto trail. Just want to make sure it's a little bit more difficult to create a trail if it's in private property than it is obviously if it's in municipally owned property. But I'm happy to share that. Thank you.
Thanks. And yeah, and if you could send us a copy of that map that you had on before.
Mhm.
Also, I don't know if this is relevant at all to what you're doing, but a few years ago when we were celebrating, recognizing the anniversary of the War of 1812, there was a trail marked through Cottage City where the British chased the our country through Cottage City on their way into Washington before they burned the White House and so forth.
Yes, I think that, thank you for bringing it up also, is there's a National Park Service trail called the Washington Rochambeau Road to the Revolution, which is actually a National Park Service trail that well, before we get too excited, they also only have one staff member. But I actually just, I know, I see you shaking your head. I think there's a way to, and I actually just earlier today was at a meeting related to the America 250 commemoration, that I do think any of our Revolutionary War sites might have the potential for additional funding for interpretation or preservation. So again, a very timely reason to revisit these things. And along those lines, Anacostia Trails Heritage Area, we meet 6 times a year, and we typically have a representative from each of our member towns. So in the coming months and years, if somebody would like to participate in a regular basis, we'd be happy to have you. And then I can make sure that you're on the distribution list. Could also add everybody to the distribution list, but if there was somebody that the town wanted to, encourage to attend all of our meetings, we'd be happy to have you. And you can just follow up with me and make sure that you get that more detailed information.
Well, thank you. It sounds all of this sounds very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions or comments from Megan?
I have a
There's something in
question.
the-
Oh, if I can ask.
Go ahead.
So the heritage area, so how is it that we become part of it, or are we already part of it? Or is there something we need to do?
Yeah, no, you're already part of it. So actually in 2001, you all, before my time, I've been here for under 2 years. So before my time in 2001, you all joined groups and towns like Edmondson, Bladensburg, Hyattsville, College Park, University Park, Laurel, and it all became and went through a pretty extensive state process. So any nonprofit or the town itself can apply for these funds that I mentioned, whether for trails, public history, or repairs. So I can send that information, past projects, just to, again, try to like create, you know, it's always, when somebody says, when a professor always said, well, you can choose any topic you want, it was always like the hardest assignment. So places like Sis's Tavern, places like Pyramid Atlantic Arts Center, whether it's murals or placemaking, or repairs like at Bostwick in Bladensburg, or George Washington House. So anything really related to history or culture are included, which it's a very broad kind of like humanities type approach, which does kind of make it hard to get to the nuts and bolts of it, which is why I appreciate your time. And so you're already a part of it, and are, again, members by way of annually we send a request for support of about 25 cents per resident. I think for Cottage City, it's around $1,500. So what I'd really like to see is you all make up that $1,500 by coming to me and getting grants that far exceed that investment in us as a regional entity.
Right.
And timely enough, I think Kevin, I guess Commissioner Best recently emailed me about some very interesting personal history that relates to the region.
I'm not a commissioner, Megan. I'm
Oh, excuse me.
the town.
Okay.
I'm the town attorney.
Oh, very good. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
But yes,
Thank you.
Camp Casey, my great-great-grandfather-in-law was stationed at Camp Casey during the Civil War. And I'm sure thousands of troops went through present-day Cottage City at Camp Casey. I've never seen anything mentioned about Camp Casey. And having been a Marine officer, I'm very proud of how the Marines acquitted themselves at Bladensburg. They were the only force that did well, along with some flotillarmen from Maryland. And that's why the Commandant of the Marine Corps' house was saved from burning during the burning of Washington, because the British respected the US Marines. And then finally, we have some maps that we obtained from the mutual aid agreements with the Park and Planning Commission. Excellent maps that show all their properties in both Colmar and Cottage City that we could share.
I welcome the opportunity to meet with you and to learn more from you. I certainly think you all both know your town, and it's history better than I do. And the best thing I can do is have an open ear and learn from you all. So if there's something we can do related to that, I know that we have a brochure that was produced several years ago related to the Civil War in Prince George's County. I'd love to see it updated. I'd love to see what we can do related to the Washington Rochambeau Trail with the upcoming America 250. So again, I am a resource, and I appreciate your email, Kevin, and I can follow up with that more specifically too.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I'll just add in the same vein, this is not as impressive, but in some of my roots research about my family, I learned that one ancestor of mine named Odell, when Cottage City used to be Yarrow, he was given permission to farm in the area. He did not own it, but he was given permission to farm here. So I found that very touching when I moved here.
That name or is actually has come up as the original name of Cottage City?
Right, Yarrow.
Anyway, see, like I said, it's just, you start to pull a thread from history to today. So please consider me a resource to continue these conversations, and especially to see how we can get this state grant program to be applicable and impactful in Cottage City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Megan.
and I'll put my contact information in the chat, and Carol can also share. I'll send you the presentation, and I appreciate very much the invitation.
Yes, thank you again for joining us tonight. We appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and you provided some great information. So if there is nothing further, you're welcome to stay if you'd like, or if you have something else you need to do. We understand if you have to leave. But
Thank you.
again.
I will sign off, and I look forward to seeing you in person around town, or doing a site visit or a walk around.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Thank
I'll
you.
be in touch.
All right, so it looks like Jim Flynn has joined us tonight.
I have. How are you tonight?
I am fine. My name is Wanda Wheatley. I'm the commission chair for the town of Cottage City. I understand you'd like to give a presentation to us tonight.
Well, I was asked to speak on behalf of the municipal collaboration, which you
Okay.
are a part of. And it seems over the years and through the drawing out of new council members, new mayors, et cetera, that it kind of dies down and people don't understand what the municipal collaboration was. So I was asked to give a quick rundown so you all at least understand it. The municipal collaboration is a group of 19 out of 27 municipalities in Prince George's County that all agreed to go into the Maryland Energy Administration and the Department of Energy's program for energy efficiency. In that, everybody started becoming part of the Sustainable Maryland Communities and also enrolled in the DHCD Community Legacy programs. So what I did was I was getting grants, and those grants, as a lieutenant and the deputy chief for Bladensburg Police Department, I obtained grants on behalf of all 19 municipalities. And that way, if you have a resident in the town that wanted their home retrofitted, weatherized, and retrofitted with new insulation and things like that, we would come in and we would do it for free. And that came through the Maryland Energy Administration grant. Over the years, it's now turned out to be about $11 million has been given to us from Maryland Energy Administration, about $3 million, well, now maybe about $1.5 million from Community Legacy. And we have been able to take care of many, many, many homes in the Port Towns area and beyond, which would be Brentwood, North Brentwood, Mount Rainier, Landover Hills, Morningside, Forest Heights, Glen Arden. We've been all over the county in this particular case, spending money on the homes and rehabbing the homes so that people don't leave. Now, instead of them falling behind on their home and winding up losing the home, we come in and we fix the home, we take care of the home, the grants and whatnot that we obtain, okay, pays for it. And then you get to keep your citizen. They have a home that's going to live for another 10 or 15 years, as opposed to let me put a Band-Aid on it and 2 years from now, when they pass away, especially seniors, when they pass away, all of a sudden the home has to go up for foreclosure or for sale or something because it's fallen down. We fix it so they can stay, which I think is important for all of the communities. So that's what the municipal collaboration does. The support letter is something that's been generally, I have support letters from Cottage City all the way back from 2011, I think it was, is the first one that was signed, where they signed on and everything else. And this is support. It initially started as Bladensburg Police Department was running the program. In 2018, I retired. In 2018, Debbie Sandlin, from the town manager from the town of Bladensburg, decided that they didn't want to support it anymore as the lead. So when they didn't want to support it as a lead, I went out and had a friend of mine who had a nonprofit, and we decided that the nonprofit could fit the model that was required by both the Department of Housing Community Development and MEA. So we were able to do that. So we formed a nonprofit, It's now called Building Change. And so with that, we've done it. We've been vetted by the Maryland Attorney General's office. We've been vetted by MEA, Maryland Energy Administration. We've been vetted by the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office. We've been vetted by the Howard County, and we've been vetted by the Department of Housing Community Development. So we've been vetted by everybody. We're good. It's a good, solid nonprofit organization where that's what we do. Every year we do $500,000 to $1 million, if not more, in retrofits, energy weatherization retrofits to homes. And each individual, like Cottage City, we have 2 or 3 homes that we're going to do in Cottage City. As those homes get finished, we send a notice to Cottage City. It's called a project complete report. We send that to Cottage City so that they can keep track of what they've supported. They can actually see it. It's a very, very in-depth report, probably about anywhere between 25 to 40 pages long for each individual project, but it gives pictures, it gives explanations, it gives costs and things like that. So it shows you not only we're doing the job, because what you're getting is what Maryland Energy Administration gets, but it also shows you, okay, how we've retrofitted the house and how we've rehabilitated the house so that they'll live and they'll stay and they'll be happy. And that's what we do in the municipal collaboration. That's what it's all done. Bladensburg supported Cottage City. Cottage City supports Colmar Manor. Edmiston supports Mount Rainier. They all support each other in this. And it's also a benefit to Cottage City for other grants. If you want to put in for a community legacy grant, something other than the municipal collaboration thing, the first thing, or one of the first things you would put in that grant application is the fact that you're a member in good standing of the municipal collaboration. Because any grant that you write in the state of Maryland, they want to know who you're collaborating with. They don't want to give it to just one single entity. They want to know how the collaboration will allow you to help more than 1 or 2 people. They want to see how it's going to help a community. And so being a member of the collaboration helps you in the long run for all the other grants that you might get, whether it be for parks because you want a new park, et cetera. I know I ramble sometimes. I try not to ramble too much. So I'll stop for a minute. And if you have a question, I'll do my best to answer it for you. And I apologize for we keep an eye on a senior in the neighborhood. And in Bowie, we had a whole bunch of power outages. And this senior hasn't had any power for over a day. So we had to go over and take batteries to charge her phone and take her some food. And I apologize. That's why I'm late. I apologize.
Commissioner Givens?
No, we understand. We understand. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Flynn. I believe we have some questions from some of our commissioners, but I wanted to ask you real quick, other than the letter of support, is there anything else you are requesting of us tonight?
No, ma'am, you don't. No, the letter of support will suffice. Normally we ask that the application goes on the town website if you want to put it there. If you don't want to put it there, that's fine, but it only helps your constituents. So if you want, I've sent you a copy of the application for the program. If you can put that on the site, then yeah, then people can get to it and they can sign up and whatnot so we can help them as soon as we can.
Okay, I think we'll be able to do that. But I believe we have a question from Commissioner Givens.
Yeah,
or comment?
Hi, Lieutenant Flynn. I've been here for a long time. Lieutenant Flynn has been amazing as when he was a lieutenant over there. If it were not for him, you wouldn't have those solar up on the top of your building. That was a collaboration project along Mr. Mosley tapped into him. And so he's done a number of collaborations along with us. It's always a benefit when we collaborate. And he is correct. That is how they operate. And when issuing grants, they'd rather give it to a what's the name, so they can be divided up instead of having to pick and choose. So I do support it and I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Givens. I also supported Mr. Flynn. I'm not sure how the other three commissioners feel. If you would like to state your position, if you support a letter.
I totally agree. I
Yes,
think it sounds great.
Okay,
Same.
thank you,
This
Commissioner
is
Young.
Commissioner Amarsham, completely in support, absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Commissioner Yuri. Is Commissioner Yuri still with us? Perhaps not. Looks like Commissioner Yuri is on mute. Well, you have 4 of the 5, which is more than enough.
That's
So we
that's
will
very,
be.
very good. That's very, very good. And I know it's quick notice too. We're turning around things. Just so you know, we applied for a Google award. Google gets involved with the Prince George's County model. And what we've said is that we'll start helping with the data collection for the Prince George's County model to see how we can make it more advantageous for a Cottage City resident once they've had their energy efficiency upgrade, to take that data that's obtained through the energy audits and the energy assessments, and take that data and it becomes worth money to them. So if they needed an upgrade in the HVAC system, instead of it costing them $7,000, it might give a credit because of what occurred. It might be only like a $6,000 or a $5,500. So that's what the ICEA proponent of this is we've started into that, and Google is really, really excited. They ask us to, Google actually asked us in Prince George's County, Erica Brenneman actually asked us to put in for it because we've already started compiling some of that data to see if we can make it more advantageous for residents, which would include, needless to say, Cottage City. So I'm done. I'm not going to speak anymore. If y'all want me back, you have to ask me to come back because I've taken too much time now.
No, thank you. We appreciate you joining
Only
us
thing-
tonight.
Just 1 second. I would like for Carol to get with you and to ascertain if there's any possibilities for obtaining solar grant for our new gazebos that are out there on the pavilion. So that's something you guys can do offline, and then she can get back to us in regards to let us know if that's a possibility or not. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We
All right, my wife
appreciate it.
wants me to come to dinner. Can I go?
You sure can.
Y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Good to see everybody. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so let's see, we taken care of 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're under old business now.
Code
Which
enforcement
is the-
update.
I didn't see Mr. Redding on the call. Is he here?
I didn't either, and I have texted and called him, so.
So you know what? I have an old version of the agenda. I sure do, because this has been changed around versus what I have.
Yeah, I
Okay,
moved
so-
that from the end to higher up, so perhaps he isn't
Okay,
jumping
well,
on
if
yet
he's
for that reason.
Okay, well, if he comes in, we'll let him do his report. If not, we'll move to the next item, which looks like it's gonna be the sidewalk railings for Bunker Hill and Parkwood Court. Will that be you, Carol?
Greg,
Greg? Okay,
Mr.
I
Pink,
thought I saw him. I did see, well, now I don't see him anymore.
he was.
Yeah, he was there. I saw him. I don't know what happened. Let's see, did you want? Well, did you want to take that one in his absence, or you want to see if he'll join later?
I can take it in his absence. One moment.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
this is for the sidewalk where we put it near Bunker Hill and Parkwood Court. And it's raised up so high, it's a hazard because there's a significant drop. So we thought to put a railing there, and it's just a short railing, about 4 or 5 feet. So Mr. Pinckney got 3 estimates. So these are the estimates that we have received thus far. Let me open up the first one.
Quick question. I was looking at the estimates and did not see a picture of the railing. So what would it look like?
It would just be an iron railing, kind you would see on a porch.
And
I
it would be
don't know.
just for that little short bit of space?
Yeah, because someone had proposed one that was partially wood, and I didn't think that would be, in terms of longevity, it should be all metal. So it would just be a simple iron railing like the type you would see on a porch.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have a picture. Greg may have. So
I'm just trying to
I
picture
see
it.
I was just going to say, I see on one of these proposals that they say 12 feet long, and I don't know whether the other 2 said 12 feet, but I assume that we're talking about just a 12-foot long thing with railings on either side.
No, that's not that.
No.
None of that's accurate.
no, that's not accurate.
Oh, okay. Well,
It-
that's
it
what
may be-
the
it may be-
City
it
Iron
may be-
says.
It may be 12 feet in total of the actual length of the what's the name, but it's a diagonal. It's 2 on one. I wish you'd had a picture. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
can't. I sent a picture of it before. It's the same, ideally the same picture I had sent you guys before of the wood railing, but it would be, and it would have been in the in metal as opposed to wood.
Mhm.
So it's just gonna be a railing right at that one little section. That's not gonna look odd? Like, I don't know, I guess I need a picture, because to me, it seems odd just to have a rail just in that one location.
Well, because how the ground is not level, so where the point where it drops, that's the main part where the hazard is. It's not for, that whole stretch.
So
Is
it's
there
not
a
gonna be
stream
all the way
there
down. the
also? Is
side.
some water going under it or something?
I believe so. Mhm.
Can I ask my question, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Excuse me.
so it's not gonna be a rail going all the way down the sidewalk. It's just gonna be at that one section where it drops at. And is
Correct.
it gonna be on, is it gonna be connected to the sidewalk, or is it gonna go down in the ground? Like, how's it gonna be installed?
They're gonna put posts there. And I think they may have to put some footings there. I'm not quite sure. Oh, it does say concrete footings as well, because you can see on this one, it does include concrete footings.
Okay. So we have 3 bids. It looks like Mr. Pinckney has returned.
Can y'all hear me?
Maybe, do you have a picture of the railings? Of how it will look?
I do not.
Mhm.
But it's the type of railing that you have, the wrought iron railings that you see going down like steps.
Mhm.
It's the same type of railing, a little bit thicker than that. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you now. We couldn't hear you before.
Okay. My internet is acting up right now, so. But yeah, this one right here from City Iron has 2 different prices. One is for 36" in height, and the other one is 42 inches in height. The other contractors gave me 42 inches because they said that's the legal, the standard legal size that it should be. is 42 inches for any hazards, anybody falling over, anything like that. So it should be 42 inches. And these are all iron, concrete footing. The concrete, the post will be on the outside, not on the sidewalk, because if we put it on the sidewalk, it'll take away from the ADA compliance. So we got to put it on the outside, right up against the sidewalk, but on the outside. And then there will be there's an L shape on one side, the side that the townhouses are on. There's an L shape coming from the townhouses and then coming down the sidewalk. And then on the other side, it's just along the sidewalk. This one for the 42 inches is the $4,250. That's about $118 per foot. The second one is from Hercules Custom Iron. Hercules is the company that we got our fence at the Public Works facility. They have a division that actually does the iron. Their price was ridiculous. Their price was $9,250, which is about $256 per foot. But that's what they do. Trust me, it was hard trying to find 3 bids because a lot of the companies who do iron were saying that the job was too small. And at this time, they wasn't taking on any jobs that small. They were doing jobs that were a lot bigger. So Hercules gave me a price. They said that they would do it. The first one and the next one are more of private iron companies. Not the commercial big iron companies, but more the private iron companies. The last one is the one that Demetrius had, Commissioner Givens was able to send me a number for, and they came out and got me an estimate quick. They are $3,060. That's from Robert Weldon. And that's about $85 per square feet, which is the cheapest one. I did get a chance to see, he showed me a picture of his railing. His railing looks pretty much like what we wanted, nice and sturdy. And his turnaround time is a week that he can be able to get out there, get everything taken care of. He said, once he get approval, he can have it done within a week.
Doesn't his say 36 inches though, and not the 48 inch?
No, so he referring to 36 feet, which is 3 12-feet long rails.
Feet.
So it'd be 36 feet worth of railing, 42 inches high.
Thanks.
So those are.
So I think basically, I think that we should just go ahead and move on this. We've been putting ourselves, the town, at risk for quite some time with that drop off. You know, and it's not a whole lot to think about. Either we're going to pay for it or we're not, and I don't see how we don't pay for it based on it's a safety concern for the public. So I yield back and I'm ready to move forward if the other commissioners are. Thank you.
I'm fine with going along with what everybody wants to do. I don't have any views on which one of the 2 less expensive ones. So if someone has a recommendation. Did you recommend the Hercules or no, wait, the Robert Welding? Is that the one you're recommending, Greg?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm recommending. I missed what Commissioner Givens said because my computer froze. But yes, that's the one that I'm recommending.
I'm sorry, I lost connection for a second. Which one did you recommend?
You recommended Robert, and I think he said that that was the one that could start in a week.
Was that the least expensive one?
Yes.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with getting it done. I just would like to see what it's gonna look like.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and vote on getting it done? And in the meantime, Greg can provide some photographs of the type of railing or what it looked like. Because again, it's a safety hazard, and I'm more so concerned about the safety hazard. And I know people want to see what it looks like, and that's fine, but it's definitely we put the town at risk of liability if someone were to injure themselves at that location. So I yield back. Thank you.
Does it look like the railings coming out the front door of the town hall, the iron railings going down the steps? Is that what it looks like, Greg?
No.
May I ask a question? To replace it, do we have to stay with iron? Is there any other materials that are more cost efficient that we can use, wood or some other type of metal that could go in place?
So Commissioner Givens had talked about a wood with iron slats. I believe the price came up to a little less than $1,000. But the problem was the iron is stronger, and it's not something that you have to worry about dry rotting or anything at any given point. You put wood up there, eventually you're gonna have to change parts of the wood, and everyone, I guess, felt that iron would be stronger and last a lot longer. So that's the reason why we got those quotes.
Right, but doesn't the iron, I know it's stronger, but it rusts a lot and very quickly and easily. Was there, because even you can see the current banister is very rusted through, and that happens virtually, quickly with that type of material.
So
Is Robert going to paint theirs, Greg?
Yeah, they all come
So
painted.
they'll all come painted
All-
black.
All right, so here's the deal. The wood we're talking about would be pressure treated, but in anything you're going to have maintenance. Okay, so if you do wood, you're going to have to stain it, or keep it up. If you do metal, at some point when it starts to bleed through, you're going to have to paint it again. You're going to have to sand it and paint it again. So I do agree that it is more, and the reason why it was only $1,000, that's because it was a project that we were going to do. But I'm not necessarily advocating that we do a project like that. I don't have any problem. I think at $3,000 and they can get it done next week, and you're not waiting on anybody, and it's a trip hazard type situation. I think we should just move on and put it behind us. We've been rolling the dice here for the last 3 months or so. So I yield back. Thank you.
Why don't you make a motion, Demetrius, and I'll second it.
Before you make the motion, can I ask a quick question? Mr. Pinckney, is this coming out of your budget?
From my understanding, these railings will come out of ARPA.
Who made that decision?
Did you hear me?
I heard you. I want to know who made that decision, because that wasn't mentioned before.
I believe when we talked about the railings, because it was never in the budget. It was something that was talked about in last year's budget, but we never got around to it because we had to get new prices for the iron. So it's never been budgeted. I believe that ARPA was the factor of trying to get it done.
Well, the sidewalk was never budgeted. That sidewalk just came up, within the last couple of months, or maybe 6 months. We talked about that sidewalk because that wasn't part of the original grant. the sidewalk going to the park. So I'm just wondering, because I don't remember us discussing ARPA money.
Right, and and then
I think your connection is kind of bad.
All right. So
You're going in
here,
and out.
Greg, just hold on.
if the
Because-
sidewalk wasn't, didn't come out of that grant, then that was how we paid for the sidewalk was gonna come out of ARPA, because you guys wanted to get that sidewalk done.
Right, so there was no money left over in the grant after you did the sidewalk, right?
Right. And the
Okay.
grant wouldn't have paid for railing.
It wouldn't have paid for it because it wasn't part of the cement, I guess, part of the
Correct.
concrete and stuff.
Correct.
Okay,
So the railing came up because once we put the sidewalks in, it was a hazard and we had to do something about it. And the only way that we could pay for it at the time was ARPA.
okay, I just don't remember us discussing ARPA, but I mean, if that's what was discussed, then fine. I just don't remember that. That's why I asked the question, where was the money coming from? Commissioner Givens, were you ready to make the motion?
Yes, I am. Can you pull up the screen for the amount so I can see that, please? Okay, I make a motion that we approve grant Robert Welding the contract to complete the railing at the corner of Bunker Hill Road and that intersects Hamlet Park entrance along the sidewalk in the amount of 3,000. I can't see the other
$60.
$60.
I second. This is Commissioner Young.
All in favor, say aye.
Young, I.
Schlumberger, aye.
Givens, aye.
Yuri, I.
Wheatley, aye. Motion passes. There are no abstentions and no opposed. All right, so let's see what's next. Draft ordinance for compensation of elected officials.
I think you can scratch that. I don't know why that's on there. There is no draft ordinance. We talked about we would need to make a charter amendment, and then the discussion went along the lines like, if we're going to make a charter amendment, we should do it along with other charter amendments so that we would only have to post in the newspaper one time for cost saving purposes. So there is no more money left. It's $4,800 is where we're at right now. We have a cap according to the charter at $5,000. So there is no additional funding available, opportunities available for commissioners.
But there's never been a discussion about once you do lift the cap on the charter, what is the amount of compensation that you all will want?
Well, that's a discussion that we can have during another time. It was actually asked for that to be researched by administration and come back and give us like what other people are doing and what is a reasonable cost, what's the name, and then we would at some point during the year, along with others, make the when it's time to make a charter amendment to deal with any other charter amendments that need to be made. Because I know Mr. Best was talking about some things that we might want it to do, I believe, or we were talking about some things we might want it to make some charter amendments to make the charter better. So I don't think right now it's really the time to kind of go through that because we don't have any research information.
Well, I had previously provided some numbers about compensation for councils and commissions. So I can provide that again if needed.
Yeah, perhaps that'd be good, but we could do that during a work session, not at this time.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Do the rest of the commission agree?
Fine with me.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
same. I guess it's fine with me.
Was that Commissioner Armitage or Yuri?
Both.
us.
Okay. All right, so we'll table that one. Has Mr. Redding joined us yet?
I don't see him.
All right, we'll keep moving. Next is new business, which is resolution 2022-10 ARPA funding. And this is for the summer camp.
One moment.
That's gonna be you, Carol.
One moment, I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
Can you see it on the screen? No. One
No, we
moment.
just see the agenda right now.
One moment.
Oh, excuse me.
All righty. So this is to use ARPA money for the summer camp provided by the county for the location at Colmar Manor. The commission had agreed to provide funding for 15 children up to 20. So this reflects the initial 15. The amount at $60 each. And you had agreed to reimburse parents for that amount, the camp fees, and that's what this is for.
This is to
many
allocate the
kids-
money. This is to allocate the money
Yes,
for budget purposes.
yes.
Okay. Commissioner Young, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, how many kids have signed up and when does it start? When does the camp start?
The camp, I believe, started on June 29th, and thus far, only one parent has come to us for reimbursement.
Only one. Oh dear.
Yes.
Have any parents come about any other camps?
What do you mean?
Well, I at the last meeting or at one of our previous meetings, I mentioned that there were apparently a lot of other camps. And I don't think the rest of the commission went along with me on being open to pay for those. But since only one has applied for this one, I was just wondering whether anybody had inquired about any of those others.
No, they have not.
Well, in any event, I'm fine with approving this. It's too bad only one person has signed up.
So this is only for 15 children?
Yes.
Okay. Because we had said we were going to do 15 with 5 on the waiting list
Right.
and not to exceed 20. Okay. So do I need to read this into the record? Because I can't see that print. It's very
Okay,
small.
let me make it bigger. Whoops. Is that better?
Not really. If you can make it a little bigger.
Okay. Wait, let me make the screen bigger. How's that?
That's fine. Okay, I'll just read it into the record and then we can make a motion, someone can make a motion. So the Town of Cottage City Resolution 2022-10, a resolution concerning the Cottage City ARPA funding received for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Whereas the town's charter requires no public money may be expanded without having been appropriated by the commission, any transfer of funds between major appropriations for different purposes must be approved by the commission before becoming effective. So the budget line, I can't see because it's cutting off. What's the budget line item? Okay, there you go. Budget line, fiscal year 23 budget line number 5065.9, which will be the summer camp. And it'll be for $900, we'll allocate $900 out of the ARPA public health expense, which is budget line item 6054.40. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2022-10 for $900?
Commissioner Givens, so moved as read.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I have a quick question. Assuming we don't spend all that money, do we have to do another resolution to put it back into a more general fund?
Well, I'm thinking since we will be in the same fiscal year, by the time the camp rolls around next year, you could leave it there and then make the same offer next year, given the fact that we've only had one person utilize it thus far.
Oh, so we could use it again next year. Okay.
Whatever's
Okay.
remaining. And we can hopefully
okay,
get the word out
second.
sooner. Yeah.
Yeah, get it out in advance. Yeah.
So the motion was made by Commissioner Givens. Is there a second?
I seconded it.
Is that Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Givens, aye.
Young.
Mache, aye.
Wheatley, aye. I didn't hear from Commissioner Uri.
I always overtalk on Roche. Yes, I said aye. Thank you.
Okay, great. Since everyone has voted aye, there are no noes and no opposed and no abstentions. Motion passes. So we did that. Okay, the HVAC maintenance contract. That's next on our agenda.
Greg, Mr.
I'm
Pinkney,
assuming that's,
Mr. Pinkney, is he on?
Okay, so the maintenance HVAC system. We got three quotes from Crop Metcalf, one from DNA Service Company, and one from Hurley Company, which is right here in Cottage City. Crop Metcalf right now is our current provider, or was our current provider. They took over WB Maskey, who started out maintaining and actually put in the new system about 10 years ago. And Crop Metcalf has been holding down the maintenance. The commission at one point wanted to see what else was out there far as maintenance providers. So at this point, we're at a place where we need to get a new contract going. And we got three companies. Crop Metcalf pricing is at $1,168 for the year. They do give us the option to sign a 3-year contract as they've done before, which locks us into that price for 3 years. If we decide to do the 3-year contract, we'll pay $1,168 per year. If we decide to do the 1-year contract, it'll be $1,168 for that year. And then the contract will continue each year, but the price will go up depending on whatever the increases that they have per year. So if we were to go in, lock in a contract with them, I would suggest that we do a 3-year contract again and be locked into that price at least for the next 3 years. That's what Crop Metcalf. That's servicing both of our units, the unit in the main part of the building and the unit in the town hall. The next one is DNA, which their price was $78 per year, and that is to service both units as well. They came out and looked at the unit, and they seem to be familiar with it as well. One of the things that I noticed that was a little higher on their end was their emergency work, which is like 190, 171 with the discount for any repairs after hours. I'm sorry, and then the emergency work was 256, 50 after hours, or emergency work. I'm sorry. Those numbers are a little bit higher than what Crop Metcalf offered originally. Theirs were like 135. So they do give 10% off of like repairs, the service, any equipment that they have to get, but their pricing is $780 per year, which is about almost $400, almost $500 lower than Crop Metcalf. The next one is Hurley's, which is right here in Cottage City. A company who is familiar again with the unit. They're familiar with HVAC systems, boilers, and their pricing is a little bit higher than everybody else's. Theirs is $2,399, $200 per month, or you can pay the whole thing upfront as the others offer as well. Their service charges are at $125, and then their emergency work is at $195, which is around kind of the standard pricing. The benefit of Hurley's is, like I said, they're right here in Cottage City. So we don't have to worry about, travel cost or anything like that. We don't have to worry about if they can get up here. I mean, they're right around the corner, so they can come up here and service our unit if we have any issues. That's the benefit of choosing Hurley's. However, as I stated before, they're about $1,200 higher than what we would be paying if we stayed with Crop Metcalf. But those are the three that we were able to get. I don't even know. My recommendation would be to stay with Crop Metcalf, but I know the commission wanted to see what else was out there, so I'll be interested in hearing guys' input on far as these three companies.
I do have a question for you. How has the service been with Crop Metcalf?
Crop Metcalf service has been very good. They usually come out, they service the equipment. When we call, they come out. Again, the benefit of Hurley's is the fact that they're down the street. So if we called them for some type of unscheduled repair or something like that, they're down the street and they'll come. Crop Metcalf will have to schedule you in, or if they do get you that day, it could be after hours. Because they're very busy and they're all over the place as far as servicing people. But service-wise, they've been pretty good.
Because I remember at one time we were having problems with their AC, and we had to keep having a technician come out to see why the air was that the same company or was that a different company?
That's the same company. We had a leak one time, and then the unit was malfunctioning. it really is not the service. It was more so the WB Maskey who put the unit in, the way they put it in the closet, and one of the pieces that they put in is so far up in the unit that you can't even get in there to really service it. It was just the design of it was poor when they put it in there. And all three of the companies who came out said the same thing. They don't understand why they put that particular portion of the unit where they put it at, because it's hard to get up in there. So that's been the issue. The unit should be running off of 3 phases, but it only gets to run off 2 phases because you can't fix the 3rd phase because of where it's at without taking the whole unit apart, which nobody really wants to do, but because it's going to cost. It's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not stopping the unit from working, but it is something that you're going to probably have to do.
At some point.
At some point, right.
Okay.
So, and Crop Metcalf, they no more. Crop Metcalf bought them out.
So the second, what's the name of the second company?
DNA.
DNA. So, I mean, you're talking about a considerable amount of money, $200 or $300, $400, in savings. So, I mean, they're professional companies, they're familiar with these units. That's what they do for work. So I don't see why we wouldn't consider them, unless there's another valid reason to go with a higher price, So I yield back. Thank you.
Any other input from the commission?
You need us to take a vote tonight though, right?
Yes.
Okay. And DNA, that's the cheaper one of the 3?
Yes, DNA is $780 per year for the 4. It's 4 quarterly maintenances that they come out and do, 2 minor and 2 major.
Is that equivalent to what we get from Metcalf now?
Yes, same thing from Crop Metcalf, and it'd be the same thing from Hurley.
So they're like $400 cheaper, right?
Right.
Well, I don't have an issue with going with a different company. I mean, if it's gonna save us money, they can do it. Where are they located?
They are located in one second.
Mhm.
Hyattsville.
Oh, that's not far either. That's Hyattsville right down the street. So it's not like they're gonna be charging us an arm and a leg to get here. I'm okay with going with DNA unless the other 3 commissions would like to go for different company. Commissioners Young, Uri, Armache.
I don't have any,
And it's
particular
$780
opinion
per
on it.
year. So I mean, if we try them out for a year and don't like the service, we can always
You're muted.
I don't know if you guys heard me.
No, we didn't. You were muted. We didn't catch that last part.
Oh, okay. I was saying that that's for a year contract. So if we're not happy with their service, we can always change them after the year's contract.
Okay. Well, I'm like, I don't have a preference either, but if we can save a few dollars, I say go with the cheaper company. Commissioner Young, were you saying that you would go with the less expensive company?
I was just saying I'll go along with what the rest of the commission wants to do. I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other.
Well, I still need to hear from 2 more commissioners.
I also don't have any strong feeling one way or the other. I'm fine with whatever you guys think is best.
Yeah, I think we can, I don't mind moving forward with this option. It's fine. Mr. Pickney said that we can test it out for a year, so that seems pretty good to me.
Okay, sounds like we're going with the DNA?
DNA,
Is
yes.
that the DNA? Okay, is there a
DNA
motion
service.
to say that one more time?
DNA Service Company.
DNA Service Company. Is there a motion to go with DNA Service Company for the HVAC maintenance contract? And how much is it again? You said 780?
780.
780 per year.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved as read.
Is there a second?
I second Commissioner Amashe.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Givens, aye.
Fury, aye.
Amashe, aye.
Young, I.
Wheatley, aye. There are no abstentions, no opposed. The motion passes. We will go with DNA.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, I believe, is the public comments. And do we have anyone from the public? Don't see any public comments right now. And Mr. Redding hasn't joined, has he? I don't see him. All right, well, we'll keep moving. Public Works update. Greg, are you ready to report?
Yep.
Report out?
For a Public Works update, just want to update and let the commission know that we have started with our summer interns. We got 1 from Reverend Addison's group, and we have 2 from the county. They've started, and their last week for Reverend Addison's young man will be the first week in August, and then the last week for the other 2 from the county will be, I believe, the second week in August. So I did want to throw this out there early to the commission that the first week in August, we will do, as we always do, an employee cookout before the kids leave. So if you guys want to participate in that, just let me know, but feel free to come up to the town hall sometime this week or next week and meet the young men. I encourage the commission to do that. Get to know who they are. I know Commissioner Givens does some work with us sometimes, so he usually gets to talk with them and get to know them and give them some wisdom, some encouragement. But for the rest of the commission, feel free to come up here and meet the young men who we are working with this year. Our Bobcat came in. We did receive the Bobcat. It came with a bucket and it came with the forks, pallet forks. However, we are looking into receiving another training with the Bobcat so that we can make sure that everybody who'll be using a Bobcat is familiar with the Bobcat, know how to use it, and get the proper training that they need for it. For the most part, with the training that we did get, me and the chief got more out of that particular training, but we're going to have another one where, you know, Anthony and Mike, they'll get a little bit more in-depth training when it comes down to the Bobcat. But we do have it. We are able to use it, and we're good to go with that. It's in our shop. It's not sitting out.
You're muted.
I think his signal is going in and out. It's fading in and out.
I don't know if it's his signal. It says he's muted.
I think my computer dropped off.
Are you finished your report?
What was the last thing you heard?
Something about the training on the Bobcat.
Oh, I was talking to y'all didn't hear me. Oh, so the mini, I'm in the process of getting a mini split system for the Public Works office. It feels like I'm in a sauna. So we're in the process of getting the mini split system. And hopefully within the next 2 weeks, when Commissioner Givens get back in town, we're going to install that. It's under $1,000, but I'm still letting the commission know that, you know, that's something that we're getting ready to move forward and get. And then also it was brought to my
A mini
attention.
what? A mini what?
It's a mini split system. It's an air conditioning heat unit.
Okay, what's the word that comes after mini?
Mini split system.
Split?
Split.
SPLIT.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. I never heard that term for air conditioning before. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, they use that term because it does air and heat.
Oh.
So that'll be in the office. The rest of the shop will have we'll get the industrial fans and put those up to cool down the bottom, but the upstairs is hot. And then it was brought to my attention about the camera system for the Public Works building. Camera system is a Lorex product, and we can get it from Costco's online, or we can get it from Lorex. They're about $4.99 for 8 camera system. It's HD compatible. I can go on my phone and look at it. I can go on my iPad and look at whatever's going on at the shop from home. If any break-ins, I can get alerts. This is a system that we've seen for years that we've been trying to get. And I just want to see if the commission would like us to move forward with getting that, or if there is something else that we're trying to do for our cameras for the area.
So let me piggyback off of that to give you a little bit more information. The reason why we're going with the Lorex, it's inexpensive in comparison to some of the other big manufacturers. These are 4K systems, so it's a high resolution, and especially for the amount. I mean, I have them. I've installed 4 of them in our apartment buildings, and they work great. And the Western name clarity is amazing. So I think if we start off with something like that in Public Works building, then everybody can see, the benefits. They could see the clarity, and then we can have a discussion of a robust discussion as to the replacing the cameras within the town hall, which is a much bigger system. I think 16 cameras, and it'll be, I think it was a couple of $1,000s or whatever. But I think that conversation is later on down the line. I think this is a good system to go ahead and go with. And so I yield back. Thank you.
So just any objections on going forward with that camera system?
Not from me.
Me either.
Okay, and just so we know that this money is budgeted in the Public Works maintenance budget. And I believe that's it. Ms. Richardson, if I'm forgetting anything, please let me know.
I can't think of anything.
All right.
Thank you, Greg. Can you bring the agenda back up? Because the
Oh,
copy
sorry.
I have is
Hold on.
missing the police department. Okay, so we can go to, because I still don't see Mr. Redding. We can go to the police department update. It looks like that's the June report.
Yes.
So I believe
Good
Sergeant
evening.
Hayes is going to take that one.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Commission. Sergeant Hayes here. I'll be speaking on behalf of Chief Watt in his absence. Well, we are happy to announce that we'll be awarded, Town of Cottage City will be awarded the SAP grant for 2023 in the amount of $39,922. The SAP grant is for the state aid for police protection. In addition to that, yesterday we had a Verizon technician on site and they installed our GPS and camera systems into each of the cruisers and also into the code enforcement cruiser. Yes, next I'll talk about the upcoming events that we're preparing for. As many of you are aware of the neighborhood watch training that we have every month. It started July 6th on Wednesdays. It's going to be the first Wednesday of every month. We're going to do a better job of promoting it because we didn't get a lot of people to show up to the first meeting. In addition to that, we have a soccer camp this week. It's going to be soccer with Sarge. Tomorrow's going to be the last day for that. Next week, we have our youth first responders camp. I believe everybody received a copy of the itinerary. If you need one, just let me know and I'll be happy to share that with you. We still have several openings. So if you know any youth that's interested in attending, we're open to ages 14 through 18, and it's going to be an all-day camp all next week. In addition to that, we have the Explorer Camp that's going to be in August. It's going to be in Haymarket, Virginia. It's also going to be a week long. We're also preparing for Cottage City Day on August 20th and National Night Out on August 2nd. The update for our Explorers, we had our first car wash fundraiser. We did well. I don't have the exact number. I can get that for you if you need how much that we raised. And like I mentioned, several of our Explorers will be attending the first responders camp in July and also our camp in Haymarket, Virginia through Boy Scouts of America. And I'm ready for any questions that you may have.
Commissioner Gibbons.
Yes, sir.
So I just like to recommend, because I know there's a lot of kids who play soccer. So, and I know we put it out on Constant Contact, but a lot of times, parents, especially the Hispanic parents, may not read it all the time, you know what I'm saying? Because if it's a language barrier, I'm not sure if it's in English and Spanish. But nevertheless, I would just recommend that you do like a short little flyer or whatever. And then when you see these kids walking around, Perez and you all see these kids walk around, just roll up on them and hand them a flyer and just invite them out to the camp. And I think that I believe you'll get participation. And
so that's what we've done in the past.
Okay,
Sorry, not to cut you off. So we've done that in the past. We have, I think it's been circulated on Constant Contact and also at our Explorers Car Wash. We were promoting that in addition to the first responders camp, as well as the neighborhood watch.
Okay. Well, I was just suggesting. I just want to make sure. I just really like to see the camp, the soccer camp, be well attended. Because I believe there's a lot of interest in it. But the other thing is with the and it's not for you it's more probably for, and Carol wasn't here, so she may have to follow up with Greg or whatever. But if we could follow up on public, I believe the commission had a discussion in regards to, and I'm not 100%, Commissioner can correct me, putting up soccer post goals from public, from Maryland Parks. And there was some, and some more bleachers back, and we need to kind of follow up and kind of find out where that's at, or if that's
Okay.
still in play or not. So I just, if someone could just follow back up between Greg and can maybe brief Miss Carol, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm not positive the commission said soccer goals. I think I did. I'm not positive if they said it or not. So they would know.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions for Sergeant Hayes?
The only other thing, Ms. Carol, if I could ask that we place those events on the main board at the town hall, on the electronic board, I think that would be great as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Givens. I'll be sure to meet with Ms. Richardson tomorrow, and we can work on that. In addition to, I know Chief has a lot of contacts with Maryland Park and Parks and Recreation, so we can get started on that also.
Sergeant Hayes, will you be giving the code enforcement report?
No, ma'am, I actually don't have that in front of me. I just have Chief's report in front of me.
Okay. I don't think we'll get that report tonight because I still don't see Mr. Redding.
Okay, ma'am, is there anything else you wanted me to go over on Chief's report? As far as like the complaint, I know he had one on Cottage Terrace that he addressed. He had an investigation.
Oh, if you have an update on that, you can give us that report.
Well, it's actually no update. I just know that he had reached out to, he did a thorough investigation and reached out to neighbors, and then ended up meeting with both parties and providing them with a copy of the PG County ordinance that addresses the noise control. And that's all I have regarding that complaint.
It was a complaint down in my ward. The chief called me about it, and with Mr. Brooks and the neighbor across from him, that's kind of been ongoing.
Yes.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments for the sergeant? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead on. Thank you, Sergeant Hayes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time, Commission.
Thank you.
All right, town manager. Carol, you want to report out?
Yes.
That was next.
Video on. So in August, the National Night Out is on the day we would have our work session, the first Tuesday. So I wanted to see if you wanted to change that to another date or cancel it for August.
I'm fine with canceling.
I'm fine with canceling.
I'm fine with it.
I'm also fine with it.
Oh,
All right, sounds like we're gonna cancel.
okay.
Work session for all.
Okay, so on this screen, I put the language for the gazebo. Then Mr. Best had made some edits to it. Can you all see that? Hello?
Yes.
I made it too
We
big.
can't
now.
see all of it.
I know, I
There you
made
go.
it too big. Sorry. So basically it says the Cottage City gazebo is for the use and enjoyment town residents only and their accompanied guests. Individuals who would like to rent the Cottage City gazebo for an event must contact Town Hall at 301-779-2161. The use of this area after dark is prohibited unless prior approval has been granted by the town, and no activity is allowed in violation of rules and regulations, excuse me, of the Cottage City Commission. Is there anything that any of you all thinks needs to be added or removed from this language?
I think on the second bullet, where it says individuals who would like to rent the Cottage City gazebo for an event must contact Town Hall. I think we should
Yes.
say for a large event, because it is supposed to be open for people to come out there and have lunch or, read a book or, small gatherings.
What about group event?
Well, you could say group, large, whatever, but I don't think if someone's just coming by to have a bite to eat, they should have to rent it out or contact the town hall.
Okay.
And perhaps.
I like groups.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would just say, should we write open? Well, no, I agree. Thank you.
For a group event, yeah.
Okay.
Are we gonna put any price? I mean, you say rent, but
No, once they contact Town Hall, we can give them that information.
okay.
Any more comments on that?
Yes, I have a comment.
Okay.
What I provided had been modified slightly. Because you don't have the words no trespass at the top, as I had indicated earlier, if, for example, someone uses the gazebo after dark, they cannot be prosecuted for trespass unless you have that language in there on the sign. If that's not what you want to do, fine. But if you want to put restrictions on the use of it that could be deemed trespass, you have to say no trespass on the sign. I yield.
So I understand what Mr. Best is saying, but I would, as a layperson, one might take it to mean like I can't use it because it says trespassing. I'd be trespassing per se. So I mean, do we have on there some language that says open to the public? And then after hours, no trespass. I don't know, but something. I just don't want to disenfranchise people to come up there. We really want this to be utilized by our residents and not dissuade them in any way for a misunderstanding. I yield back. Thank you.
I have a suggestion. Kevin, how would this work? On the third bullet, the use of this area after dark is prohibited. Add in there and will be considered a trespass, and then back unless prior approval has been granted by the town.
Well, I think it would be better to say no trespass at the top, and all caps say no trespass except as stated below. Because I believe the state statute requires the words no trespass.
Oh, okay.
Plainly written, the notice, the sign. But again, if, as Commissioner Givens indicated, if you don't want to put any type of chilling effect whatsoever, and you want to forego the ability to, take action under the criminal code, if someone is there after dark and doing something nefarious, if you're willing to give that up, then just leave the language as is. Thank you.
You don't think a middle ground would be to say is prohibited and will be considered trespass against the law or something like that unless prior approval has been granted? I think the feeling may be that if you put no trespass at the top, it's sort of chilling.
That was my thought as well.
Yeah, you probably, as long as you're giving notice to individuals that their conduct in a limited fashion as trespass, I guess you can qualify that. I'll look at the statute tomorrow and, but yeah, I think Commissioner Young, you do propose a feasible alternative, so seems fine to me. Thank you.
So after prohibited and before unless or state, and will be considered trespassing or trespass.
Got it.
Thanks.
All right. Are there any more comments on this language?
Will this go into the newsletter?
Yes.
Okay.
All righty. One moment. Go back to my notes. And I wanted to update you all on the Safeway gift cards. We've given away we've given away exactly $6,875 worth of gift cards. So we still have a significant number to give away. And we've also made phone calls about gas cards as well. So the gas station in Cottage City was not they don't do gas cards, but I believe it was the Sunoco on Bladensburg Road. They said we could purchase them in different increments of $25, $50, and $100. So the question becomes, what is the amount that we want to purchase? Because we wanted a gas station that was close by.
Well, right now, $25 ain't gonna be much. I think you gotta go higher. Because gas
but
is
you
really
also-
expensive.
But you also got to consider, you put that out there, the Cottage City, for gas. You have every resident up here. You have all 1,400 people up here getting a gas card, and that's going to be very, very expensive. So I wouldn't advocate that. You know, unless there's some criteria built around it, where they have to show some type of hardship, which would lessen that. But just to have it open to the general pub, I can't see it. You're about.
Well, that's
I
what
don't
we're
think
doing
people-
with, I'm sorry.
Well, you go ahead, Carol, then I'll say something. You go
Well,
ahead.
that's what we're doing with the Safeway gift cards. That we're not basing it upon hardship. It's for residents. And they have to show proof of residency.
Yeah, but that ain't gas. Gift cards is different than gas. Whatever.
Well, I kind of disagree because food prices are high too. Everything is going up, and I think anything we can do to help our residents, whether they're having a hardship or not, we should try to do it. That's what this ARPA money is for. It's not for us to sit on it either. So,
Well, I wouldn't say
I mean,
$50.
we could put a cap on how much how much money we budget for it. But we had talked about helping out with gas before. We had discussed it.
Well, I would just say that I wouldn't go above 25 per gas card.
What's the amounts that they offering their gift cards? Do you know?
25, 50, and 100.
I would say do 50. Because right now it takes about $70, $80 to fill up your tank, depending on what kind of car you have. How do other commissioners feel?
I mean, yeah, it takes $70, $80 to fill up your tank. My feeling is, I don't know, if we have money allocated for that, like, might as well give them 100 and let them, close to fill up their tank a couple times instead of just once. And I think a lot of people easily spend twice that in a week commuting.
That's true. Thank you.
I'm
Commissioner,
fine with going higher.
what amount?
You said 50, I'm fine with that. I didn't understand everything you said, Artist. Did you suggest 100?
That's the highest choice, I think.
I still didn't, you're sort of fuzzy, I'm not understanding. You said 100, is that yes, is that right?
I said, I think the highest option we were given is 100.
Did you catch that, Commissioner Young?
I think she said the highest option would be 100. I guess as a compromise, I'd probably go with you on 50.
Commissioner Yuri?
Well, I wasn't expecting the increase to 100, but given the gas situation, I mean, I kind of could agree with that if the commission wants to, but I mean, this is going to be available to all residents, correct?
Yes.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, it would be a very nice courtesy given the economic climate of the gas prices and everything, so.
Okay, so I think you gotta be careful on how you register people for this, because you can have 8 people in a house and only 2 of them have a car. You know what I'm saying? And then they're coming to get gas cards, and we don't want that to be taken advantage of. So I'm not sure how you would consider rolling that out, Carol, but it's got to be something that's where the town's not going to be taken advantage of.
Well,
Like
this is,
registration, car registration, and current everything.
well, this is how we do it with Safeway cards. It's 1 per household, and we keep a spreadsheet of the individuals and the addresses
That's fair.
so that they don't come back again. So it will be the same way we would do it with the gas cards.
I can
I have
see
a
that.
question. What do you do when you have a household with 2 families?
Well, they would have to provide proof, like if it's, 3820A and 3820B, provide proof of that or a separate lease or something to show that there are 2 distinct households.
Okay. Thank you. Did you want to
So-
report anything?
So we have 2 for 50, 2 for 100.
No, I think you have 3 for 50. I mean, I'll go at the 50.
Okay.
I'll go with 50.
So $50 it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
how much total ARPA money do you want to allocate for this?
That's a good question.
5,000.
How much did we do for the food card?
25,000?
Well, I definitely don't want to do that much. That's too high.
How about 5,000? That would be 100 gift cards. And then we could reassess it after that.
I'm okay with that. Because we're having a hard time getting rid of those gift cards. I don't know why we bought so many. That's a lot.
Any other thoughts on the amount? So 5,000 it is? Is it?
5,000 is okay.
Sounds
with
fine to me.
Okay. All right, so gift cards in the amount of $100. I'm sorry, in the amount of $50.
Mhm.
And the total ARPA allocation will be 5,000, correct?
For now.
For now,
We'll
and we'll
reassess.
reassess it.
Yes.
And are we reassessing based on how well the program goes? Because I think it's going to go pretty well in 100 families. Do you think that'll be enough?
We'll know after we reassess.
Okay.
Commissioner-
And I wanted just to run this by you. I had a conversation with the company who does our payroll and time clock. And just in terms of accuracy, they have the option of having a time clock that has a retinal scan, and also an app you can use where people can log in to the time clock and you can see where they are. Because, you know, sometimes staffers, town staff may go to training or whatever, and so they don't have to come in there, they can use the app. But the thing about the retinal scanner, it just makes for more accuracy in the app and makes sure that no one misses, you know, logging in or logging out no matter where they are. But there is an increased cost. We currently pay $55 a month for our time clock. The new time clock would increase to $150 a month.
Yeah, I don't see to be honest with you, I don't see that as a necessary, you know, cost-effective measure in regards to, I'm gonna just finish explaining why. Because the amount of trainings that our people go to, it's not all that much. We don't have 100 people, you know, 200 people that we have to kind of track, monitor. And, you know, those small trainings that they go to, you know, like I said, you could fill out a form and have the instructor sign the form. Simple as that. And they could turn that form in when they come back in the following workday. You know, if they're in court, again, there's a court clock there at all the courthouses that they could have their paperwork is established for them to go to court. They should be able to stamp on there or stamp whatever forms that you all make up. So it's not that often that occurs and wouldn't be cost effective for the, I don't believe it would be cost effective for the amount of increase. I yield back. Thank you.
Okay.
How do other commissioners feel? Do they agree with Commissioner Givens?
I don't have any strong feelings about it. It seems a little futuristic, but on the other hand, that's what we have now. So, I mean, I just don't really have any strong feelings one way or the other.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioners Amashe and Yuri?
This is Commissioner Amashe. I kind of agree with Demetrius. I mean, on the one hand, it would be handy, but you know, we have a small staff. I don't know. To me, it seems more like a novelty. It's going to cost us money. It just doesn't seem like something. It doesn't seem like a necessity.
Thank you, Commissioner Yuri.
I don't necessarily see it as a necessity either.
Thank you. I also don't have any feelings one way or the other.
Okay. Very well. Yeah, I was kind of torn on it, so I said, well, let me bring it up. Then the other thing is we have submitted the NED grant, a request for $300,000 for the firehouse. And in addition to that, with the bond bill, we have to submit paperwork, basically an application with that. So we can't do that at this time. We have to wait till we get construction plans from the architect. So he has already given us a layout of the cost and everything, and I will email that to you. It came to $1,078. Okay, because he did that. We had to submit it with the DHCD NED grant application. So I'll be getting together with him in terms of developing the design and, you know, the construction plans. And I wanted to know what commissioners would like to be a part of that as we go on with this process. for renovating the firehouse.
Be a part of the design?
Well, just the overall, well, the project management, or just be in the loop on the meetings. I thought I think it's important for someone from the commission to be part of it.
This is
I mean,
Commissioner Amashe. I would be happy to.
okay.
I don't have any desire to necessarily be part of it, but I am sort of shocked at the amount. That's incredible.
Mhm.
Is it largely because of the repair work that needs to be done? I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, there's a big house over on Parkwood on this side of town. It's for sale for $600,000, and I don't know. I'm just surprised at the amount. That seems so high.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's a massive amount, especially when you could tear it down and build a bigger one that's $1 million.
Well,
You
less
probably-
than that, yeah, right.
It's probably
That's the
cheaper to
thing,
tear
yeah.
it down and build a new one, but you got to work with the existing structure. That's the
Yeah, that's the
challenge.
problem. But I guess the caveat, I guess the saving grace is the fact that we've already got $500,000 and funding already approved. And you're saying you're applying, did you just say you're applying for another 300,000?
300,000, and I plan. Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly,
We have 500,000 approved already
yeah,
for that.
yeah,
Yes.
from Augustine, yeah.
From our bond bill, yes, and
Yeah. So
Spec-
it's not like
specified for that
500,000
building,
we got from Senator Augustine and Delegate Fennell.
right.
Yes,
and
we
it's
have that
specified
already.
for that building.
That's correct.
Okay,
So,
well.
so with that said, and if you can get any additional funding after that, would also be a plus, an additive, so if the town would only have to spend 200 or 300, I think that, at the end of the day, we benefit, our residents benefit. So I yield back. Thank you.
It is still my intention to go after, more money. I've already had Tracy reach out to Senator Cardin's office, because, he does do congressional earmarks. So I'm gonna go that route as well. And any other, the USDA as well. So my goal is to try to get all of that money without it coming from our coffers.
And I appreciate that. I also, I'd still kind of, I don't know how you do it, but walk the fine line, because I'd hope to have some monies available for when we, because I still anticipate us getting the building next door and developing that, and that's going to take a considerable amount of money, and we want to make sure that we haven't, tapped out of our resources dry. You know what I'm saying? And still have something available to be able to tap into. I think the town's going to have to spend some money, and I get that. I definitely want that community center thing. We definitely need the money for that. So I yield back.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And so we start the whole process again, like with the DHCD, we can keep going back to that option for more bond bills, USDA. And I know people, I've done projects where I've come back every year. So, and a lot of times with DHCD, they want to see the completion of a project, like you may get money for demolition if you have to tear something down. That's phase one. And then you go back the next year for the pre-development, and that's phase two. Then you go back again for phase three for construction. So it's not unheard of.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Carol. Is that the end of
Speaking
your
of,
report?
Before we move on, could I just ask a question? Speaking of the house behind the town hall, Demetrius, or anyone, have we gotten any more insight on that since we we chose someone to look into that, right?
We haven't cut the check for the retainer yet for the attorney.
Oh, okay.
All right, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Carol. I believe next up would be Ward 1. Commissioner Young, do you have anything to report out?
Not well, a couple things. If for Ward 1, let's see. Is Greg still on the line? Yes. Okay. We got 2 speed humps in. Greg, I was wondering, both of those are between 37th Place and 38 on Parkwood. And I was just wondering, the person who had asked for those had wanted it at the intersection, and you explained that you're not allowed to do them at intersections. But for people who would be coming from 37th Avenue and then turning onto Parkwood, it might make sense to put another speed hump before you got to that intersection. Because apparently the problem that was being raised was people speeding through that stop sign. And if they don't get to the speed humps until after they've already gone through the stop sign, it won't stop them going through the stop sign. So I was just wondering if it might not be a good idea to put another speed hump on Parkwood between 37th Avenue and 37th Place. That's one thing. Is that something you think you could achieve, Greg?
We can put a speed hump 37th Place, but to put a speed hump on 37th, in between 37th Place and 37th 37th Place and Parkwood, that will be in the middle of the intersection. So we can.
No, I mean on Parkwood, but no, what I was saying is on Parkwood between 37th Avenue and 37th Place.
So at the bottom of the hill.
Well, not at the bottom and not in between, right in the middle between 37th Avenue and 37th Place on Parkwood.
How about you meet me out there sometime tomorrow and show me, because that's still telling me right in the middle of the intersection, which we can't do.
Okay. I'll try to.
Yeah, if you could
okay.
meet me out there.
But let's talk on the phone. Yeah, maybe tomorrow afternoon I might be able to do that. I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to say is I just yesterday or today I read a couple more articles about how this new Omicron variant is coming and it's going to be worse. And, we can't get the next vaccine, next booster until the fall. And so I just wanted to, raise that in terms of what we discussed. I don't remember if it was last week or when it was, but about requiring masks in town hall. I think we decided to require masks at our meetings, but not to require them on the part of other people. But you might want to reconsider that, because these articles have just been coming out in the last few days talking about how this is going to be worse than people anticipated. And until we get those next boosters, which won't be until the fall, they're saying that people could be in danger even if they've had it before. So I just wanted to sort of throw that out there. Makes me a little nervous anyway. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Let me just say, you all do not have civil emergency powers. in your town. So you have to follow the county proclamations and laws on masking people, whether it be in your town hall or in public. So I just want to let you be aware of that. That's not something you can regulate as a town unless you pass an ordinance to do so. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll just leave the things as they stand then. But let's try to be alert to what's going on. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Michelle, would you like to report anything tonight?
No, not tonight, other than, I have some things that I'm going to share in August, and I'm still sorting out dates, but one of the things that I would like to do is offer a mental health half day for staff. But I will send everybody more information about that. But I don't have anything. I feel like I had something, but I don't remember what it was at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. For Ward 3, I don't really have anything to report out, but I will just make an announcement that early voting ends tomorrow. So if you haven't done so and you want to get an early jump on the voting, you can go to Rolling Crest, I think Sports and Learning Center, College Park, and I believe Bowie are doing early voting. So if you want to get your vote in, you have it up until tomorrow. And then the primary is next Tuesday.
Also, there's a program Friday night on where they're having the gubernatorial candidates. If anyone's interested, I'll forward you the email. It's being put on by I think it's the NAACP. It came to my town email.
Okay, thank you. I know well, I won't say anything about that. Let's see, Ward 4, Commissioner Givens, you want to report anything?
I don't have anything to report. I just want to thank Public Works for the first year since inception. Those plants are looking amazing. See what happens when we can water them every day, and see how even over the weekend when you don't water them, they're still fine come Monday. If you water them every day, you just love. It's all about the watering, the love. So thank you for and they're looking amazing. If you guys are going out there on along Waynesburg Road, they look beautiful. So I yield back. Thank you. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. At-large Commissioner Yuri?
Sure. The only thing I have to report is that we're going to start English class again, and we're going to pick back up in August. So Ms. Richardson, you can look out for that. The teacher is probably going to call soon, and you'll discuss getting him started again.
I have a question. Did he ever get his Zoom account set up?
He should have one, yes. He should have one.
Okay, so he's going to use his own account.
So far that I know.
Okay, because in the minutes, there was something where you had suggested that he charged the town for his Zoom account. Was that correct?
Well, there's not, for the amount of people joining the class, there's no need to have a charge because it's, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's the end of our agenda. Let's see. There's no more. I don't see anyone from the public. I do believe we do have a closed session. Is that correct? Carol?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to read this little document.
Commissioner Whitley,
Yes.
I did forget to report on one thing, but the tree work will start on July the 18th. For all those who were maybe wondering when it's going to start, the tree work will start on July 18th. Our town manager and myself have already approved the way the work will be done, the phases. So that work will start on the 18th.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let me,
Greg, I just looked at my calendar. I'm gonna need to do that Friday afternoon. I've got something tomorrow. So I'll call you Friday.
Okay.
Thanks.
all right,
Thank
so let me just read this real quick. Statutory authority to go into closed session. This meeting will be closed under general provisions, Article 3-305B, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, and any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Is there a motion to go into closed session at this time?
Commissioner Givens,
9:29.
Commissioner Givens, so moved as read.
Is there a second?
Second,
Is
I
that
second.
Commissioner Young? Okay.
yes,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Givens, aye. Givens, aye.
Yuri, aye.
Wheatley, aye. Hearing no opposed or abstentions, the motion passes. We are now in closed session at 9:30 a.m. PM, sorry.
One moment. Let me stop the recording.